Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. It feels like it's been flipping ages since Chelsea drew 1-1 in that pretty average game of football against Crystal Palace at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. But alas, we are back at the Vitality Stadium at the wonderful hour of 8 PM on a Saturday. It would be amazing if it was a heat wave, if it was 30 degrees, nice day out in Bournemouth, go to the beach, you go to Boscombe, mate, go crabbing, do something and then turn up for the football later on in the day. 3 in the morning this is going to be for me on Sunday morning. I'm not sure if I'm going to go live. Check the channel before the game tomorrow. There might be a watch along, there might not be, but 6 things we learned will be out straight after the game. I wanted to wait until after Enzo Maresca's press conference because I was hoping for some good news about players that are fit, but no, there's absolutely nothing that is good about Reece James being out still, Malo Gusto still, and Romeo Lavia all are out. There isn't 1% of the good news there. It's just all shit, to be quite honest. Watching the press conference as well, classic journalists who have waited weeks to speak to Maresca, they're asking him about the owners. Honestly, the brain cells. I don't understand it. What is the point in asking the manager about the owners? What do you think he's going to flip and say, yeah, do you know what, mate? I was looking at it. I think Bedad Barley's got some good biceps on him. I'm going for him. What are you on about? No, it's ridiculous. Keep the pressure off of the manager when it comes to talking about the ownerships. Please. Ask him questions about the team. I want to know who's been training well. And luckily, there were some people in the room that did ask us about the fitness of certain players. That did ask us about how Jadon Sancho is doing so far. Chukwuemeka, Ben Chilwell. Those are the questions that were also asked. But like, what's the flipping point in asking the man about the owners? What do you think he's going to flipping say? Ridiculous. But anyway, we've got a big discussion to have here, don't we? Because not only do we need to talk about the fact that, you know, players that are supposedly, they should be back into fitness when the international break is over, they're just not fit. Lavia, Reece James, we've got a serious issue here. These guys were supposed to be ready to be back. They're not. I'm not going to sit here and bash them and say, yep, they're done, they're finished, whatever. But it is seriously concerning how they're just never fit. They're literally never fit. It's a serious problem for Chelsea. Malo Gusto is also injury prone, didn't go with France for the internationals, for the under-21s. And it leaves Chelsea with JustACoupleGs as an option at right back and also Moises Caicedo potentially at right back, filling in to a role that we've seen him do before with good success, to be fair, at Brighton. But the big question that I have here is about the shape of the Chelsea team, particularly just how easy it's been for us to get absolutely steamrolled in midfield. Even against Crystal Palace, we didn't really have control of the centre of the pitch. There were moments in the first half against Wolves, the goals that they scored, we got ran through. Absolute train wreck in the middle. And without Lavia's physicality, Enzo Fernandez right now, according to Maresca in the press conference, is the only player available for us that can be an attacking midfielder on the ball and then a defensive midfielder when we're in the transitions and having to surrender possession. This is a massive issue. The guy has just got back from Argentina, from an international break. He's had 1 day of training, as well as Moises Caicedo, before this match away at Bournemouth. And Bournemouth, guys, they are absolutely no mugs. They're unbeaten so far this season. They drew away at Forest. Then they drew at home to Newcastle. As much as Newcastle haven't been playing well, they're at least getting good results. And then they had that fantastic comeback. And as much as it was an Everton capitulation at Goodison Park, Bournemouth had to go and score the goals. And they did. They're unbeaten in their first 3 games. They did well last season. And I think Bournemouth could be one of the teams this year that could be trying to push for the top 8, maybe, come the end of the season. They play really good football and they're looking solid. They lost to West Ham in the Cup. But this is not an easy game. And when I look at this issue that we have with the potential Caicedo right back, I said it in the podcast. If you saw the 3 More Points podcast this week, big shout out to you. It's also available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. The link is in the description. I said within that video that this is a big opportunity here for Enzo Maresca to play JustACoupleGs, an academy graduate, in the first team. If your first and second choice right backs aren't fit, the last thing I want to do in a midfield that has literally looked like we need protection, you can't take Caicedo out of that position. You play a right back, even if he's young and inexperienced, you at least start the game by having no right backs but putting a right back in right back. I don't know how many times I have seen Chelsea in recent years struggling, despite buying all the players that we've bought, by playing players out of position. It's one of the most jarring things. We saw it countless times at Pochettino with Levi Colwill playing as a left back when there was actually left backs available. And I don't want to see this. If Josh Achampong is getting run ragged, and in the first half an hour, 45 minutes, we see, oh, okay, maybe he's not ready for the first team, at least then you know. And at least then you try the Caicedo at right back. For me, don't disrupt the middle, because we're already looking weak on those transitions. We're already being overran in the midfield. So take Caicedo out of that and ask an Enzo Fernandez, who's just been on another long-haul flight, and Caicedo, by the way, with no Lavia. Like, I genuinely think this could be a recipe for disaster. Add into that the Anthony Taylor problem with the referee. Bloody hell. The odds are starting to stack against us here, aren't they? But I want to try and remain positive, because Chelsea away from home against Wolves, we won 6-2. And I'm going to say it again. I think there's less pressure on Chelsea, and I think we're playing better football, and we will continue to this season, away from Stamford Bridge. It's a toxic atmosphere at Stamford Bridge. There isn't really an atmosphere. People don't even sing. It's a problem. So I think right now, Chelsea playing away from home, where the away fans are always absolutely A1. Everyone's singing. Everyone's getting behind the players. Close, intimate stadium at Bournemouth as well. It's probably one of the smallest in the league, I think. Chelsea fans can get behind the boys. And I think it's with that kind of support and the backing, they play with a bit more freedom. And I think as much as Bournemouth are unbeaten, and this is certainly not going to be an easy game, I just think right now we suit playing away from home. I really do. I hope that isn't going to be the case all season. But with the issues that we've got at the club right now, with the owners, with the disconnect between Stamford Bridge, match-going fans, and the club, I understand it. I don't like it. I don't want it to be this way. But I think away from home, Chelsea might actually do better at the start of this Premier League season. So, without any further ado, let's begin with the goalkeeper in this game tomorrow. Sanchez is in goal. Philip Jorgensen apparently picked up a little injury whilst away on international duty, but also he's fit and he's been training, and there wasn't really many questions asked about him in the press conference. Shock horror, but Sanchez is the Premier League number one. We move into my choice for right back here. Achampong, Fofana, Colwill, Cucurella. For me, it is all about playing players in their correct positions. And trust me, I think we could get run ragged tomorrow if Caicedo's not in the midfield. So for that reason, that is my back four. I thought Levi Colwill looked really good for England. I think Wesley Fofana, there's been a lot of discussions this week about the interview, about how he could have signed for Marseille in the summer. I think a lot of people overreacted to this. I think a lot of stuff that happens at Chelsea right now, people just use like an accumulative negative effect to like just overreact to stuff. I could have sat here and made a video and wasted all of our time talking about Wesley Fofana's comments. And does he want to go to Marseille? It's his boyhood club. The guy has also got pictures of him as a kid in a Chelsea shirt. Like, just get over it. Do you know what I mean? He's a Chelsea player. And I think the best is still to come from Wesley Fofana. But that would be my back four, meaning we keep a midfield pivot, a Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. I'm concerned about these guys, and to be fair, I feel a bit sorry for them, to be quite honest. They've had such long trips to South America, and we got to get used to this, Chelsea fans, because we've bloody bought a lot of them, haven't we? We've bought a lot of Brazilians. We've got Anselmino, who'll be an Argentina starter soon as well. Like, we're going to have to get used to having players come back from South America and have one day to train before Premier League action. But as we move into the attack, this is where it starts to get a little bit mouth-watering, starts to get a little bit tasty. Noni Madueke, currently in the form of his career. He is going to be my right winger. Cole Palmer in the number 10. Luckily for Chelsea, we're not talking about an injury list of Lavia, Gusto, James, Palmer. Palmer's been training. He's been looking good in training as well. Neto is starting on the left with Nicholas Jackson through the middle. The club have confirmed today that Jackson has signed that new contract. We heard about it from journalists last week or 2 weeks ago. This, for me right now, is the best Chelsea attack that we've got. We've got Joao Felix off the bench. Christopher Nkunku, big discussion needs to be had about him. I think with Nkunku at the moment, it's difficult because Jackson is still scoring, so you can't really drop a striker that's scoring. And Cole Palmer is the best player at the club, so he's going to play as the number 10. So I think for me, Christopher Nkunku's minutes, by no fault of his own, could be few and far between when it comes to starting matches in the Premier League. I think we will see Jadon Sancho in this game. And when I look at what this fixture is, I don't have a flipping clue, guys, you know. I don't know what Chelsea are going to show up for this game. I think that right-back position is so important. My concern is that if it is Caicedo that plays at right-back, I'm going to put up another potential variant of the starting 11 on the screen now that sees Caicedo there. I'm just really, really concerned, guys, that we are going to have a problem when it comes to being overran in that midfield. Because Enzo Fernandez, as much as I know I've criticised him a lot and people think that I don't like him, like it's possible to still think a footballer could become good. And if you actually listen to the podcast all the way through, quite clearly I say about Enzo Fernandez, he's being played in the wrong role. For Argentina, we see him being deployed as like a number 5 on the pitch. And if you know anything about football, you know what that is and how that role is different to what we have seen so far from Enzo. And I think Enzo Maresca also is aware that they're a bit short in the middle. Chelsea are a bit short with this midfield right now because in terms of the way that we're playing, I don't think you can sacrifice one of Caicedo or Enzo from this team and put Dewsbury Hall in there. He clearly doesn't trust Chukwuemeka enough to put him in there. And Cesare Casadei is the other option. And we've not seen him used yet at all. So I just think with Chelsea right now, we've just got to hope here that this is going to be good. And I'll tell you the truth also, guys. I really hope that we don't lose this game simply because right now, when it comes to supporting the team, it's difficult to support the club. Yes, granted. But we've got to back the players. We have got to support this team. And I think if we lose, it's just going to be so difficult with all of the shit going on at board level. It's going to be so difficult to separate that and still support a team that keeps on getting beat. And I think at this point of the season, 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. Match number 4, the seesaw is currently like this. It could go really bad or it could go really good. I really hope that the Chelsea that turned up at the second half in the Molineux turn up for this game. I really, really do. My score prediction, I genuinely think this is going to be tough, guys. I don't actually think we're going to win tomorrow. I really want to be positive, and you guys know that. But my realistic prediction is a 2-2 draw. I think we'll come away with something, but it's not good enough. It's not good enough. We cannot be dropping points against teams like Bournemouth and Palace. I'm sorry, but that is just the way I'm seeing it. Bournemouth are a good side. They're unbeaten, but we've got to be winning. We need to be back in the Champions League come the end of this season. It's imperative. Let me know your thoughts on my 11 in the comments down below. Let me know also what you think is going to happen tomorrow. I genuinely don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know what Chelsea are going to turn up. Are we going to miss those players? And what's the lineup going to be? Honestly, will we see Felix? Will we see Sancho? Nkunku? So many questions. Thoughts in the comments. I'll see you tomorrow.